Hi, I'm Eric Lanask here in the TMC newsroom, coming to you from San Jose, California, and I'm talking with the Director of Marketing for VSS Monitoring, Andy Huckridge. Andy, thanks for joining me. Good to see you again.
It's nice to be here, Eric. Thanks for having us.
So, as you know, lots of exciting stuff going on in the market. Let's see how many of them we can touch on today.
Sure.
Cloud. What are you seeing? I mean, obviously, an awful lot of activity. Everybody's talking about cloud. Everybody's starting to leverage, the cloud delivery model. What are you seeing?
Sure. Well, everyone certainly is beginning to leverage the cloud delivery model. And in fact, last week we even began to see Netflix really embracing that with their new pricing plans now. So the interesting thing there is how to get access to the data that's on those networks. How do you work out if you're getting the levels of service that you're paying for? So up until recently, many of the problems have been the data inside the cloud is you just can't touch it. You can't get access to it because it's inside the cloud. So VSS Monitoring recently has unveiled a new technology called VStack over IP. And what it allows us to do is to go inside and traverse through a cloud to be able to connect to some of our monitoring equipment that's inside the cloud, to be able to pull out the statistics out of the cloud, to be able to pull the data out of the cloud, such that companies can now start to hold the service providers accountable for what they're paying for. The cloud service providers can also then get an idea of where the problems are within the cloud. If there's, for example, a piece of equipment that isn't working well and things like this. So the cloud is now starting to become manageable. The cloud is now certainly beginning to open itself up. And with the help of this new VSS feature, we believe that we can really show some thought leadership and help out the industry as a whole.
So really, it's about being able to bring some of the capabilities and monitoring capabilities that companies have always done in-house, and enabling those up in the cloud as well.
Right. So if you think about it, the enterprise normally always does monitoring in-house. But of course, they get to that demarcation point where they can't see any further. And now that the service providers have put more things into the cloud, well, then they're now 2 steps removed. So what we can allow the enterprise to do, and the service provider, is to be able to reach into the cloud and say, hey, where are my virtual machines? What's running on them? What are the applications? So on and so forth. But then, of course, the more important bit is to be able to get access to the data to say, aha, here's an issue here, or this is working well, this is very efficiently running, or there's some other problem over here. So we're providing to the cloud service providers and, of course, to the enterprise the ability to tunnel into the cloud to be able to see what's going on there and provide system level mesh monitoring capabilities as well.
What's the reaction from the cloud service providers knowing that their enterprise users now can have access to understand how well they're performing?
Sure. So we announced this last week at Cisco Live in Las Vegas. So it's certainly early yet. But judging by the initial interest, of what drove us in this direction to satisfy the customer base, it looks like there's going to be a lot of follow-up. So it was very, very popular at Cisco Live last week. There's a lot of cloud providers out there right now that just don't have, they can't provide the sorts of statistics that they want to their enterprise customers. And the enterprise customers are saying, hey, I want this information. We're paying you, so give us this sort of data. So we're expecting a pretty good take-up.
Is there a danger for those cloud providers who don't want to, for one reason or another, and potentially very legitimate reasons to provide that
Absolutely.
data, but to be looked at very negatively in that, well, what are you trying to hide?
That's a good question. There's a possibility of that. So VSS Monitoring always takes the standpoint of being agnostic, and we try to provide as much reasonable, honest data to either service providers or to the large enterprises or to the cloud providers that are out there. So it really is. I think what will happen is it'll come down to the enterprises to, as usual, to push the cloud service providers in a certain direction. And that's really normally what happens anyway.
Sure.
So we'll see.
You mentioned earlier certainly one of the companies that's playing in one of the hot spaces today, and certainly having a significant impact on what's happening in the cloud as well. The video industry.
Right.
how are you seeing that change both the cloud market as well as what you're having to do regarding monitoring?
So video, I mean, especially being part of the cloud, is fascinating today. So some little known facts. 50% of all internet traffic today is video. 80% by 2015 will be video. So we're looking down the barrel of a video bandwidth explosion. And there's certain issues that are associated with this, because companies out there today who have bought tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of analytical tools or monitoring equipment, as these pipes get upgraded, from 100 meg to 1 gig, or from 1 gig to 10 gig, or even higher, all of these tools are obsolete, and they can't use these tools anymore. All of the investment is obsolete, so they can't use them anymore. So we've identified that there's a problem here, and with our solution, what we're able to do is to do media conversion, which is either speeds or speeds and feeds, to be able to preserve the existing investment that companies have today in video monitoring equipment, whether they're monitoring responsiveness or whether they're monitoring video picture quality, to be able to reuse all of that as the pipes get bigger and where these tools can't directly attach to the pipes anymore. So we can do the speeds and feeds. We can get access to the specific type of data that they're looking for, filter out all of the other data that they don't want to make the tools more efficient, aggregate, and so on and so forth. So we see this as a big need coming up, and we're trying to educate the industry and do some thought leadership on it to say, hey, don't throw away your existing tools. We can help you to continue to reuse those in the future as the pipes get bigger.
It seems to me two of the biggest factors driving that increased interest in video and the video traffic, and certainly extending that out to 2015, the combination of new mobile handsets that are very much video capable,
right,
and social media,
right,
the ability to very easily share video multimedia content.
Right. So there's some new news in that area, obviously. So with Facebook's deal with Skype, that puts a whole lot of video on the web that wasn't there before on the internet. I mean, and that of course just proves what I was just saying a few minutes ago. But you're quite right. So the whole concept of mobility, to go from the home to a second home, or to go from a home to a car, or from the home to a mobile, where you've got all of these different switching that's going on. And we do now today have the technology in the core to be able to do the switching in any of those different formats that I just mentioned there, as well as the ability to have different feeds all going at the same time, to be able to have multiple feeds in the home, so on and so forth. But of course, that then still brings up the issue of how do you verify that just because you've changed location, that the video feed has actually swapped location as well. And surprise, surprise, monitoring can help with that too. So VSS Monitoring, again, believes that we're critically focused right in the middle of all of this new technology to be able to provide useful information back to the service providers, or as we mentioned earlier, the cloud providers or enterprises, to help mobility, whether that mobility be enterprise mobility or video mobility, or social consumer mobility as well. So we certainly believe we have a hand in helping out with that.
And probably the one technology that sort of is helping push all of this along is the growth and new rollouts of 4G wireless technology. Again, something that it's got to be monitored.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's some new breakthroughs, some new innovation that we've done at VSS recently, and this is a very interesting point. So today there's over 200 LTE trials in place. So a lot of the service providers are trying to work out, which NME they want to go with, which P gateway to go with, so on and so forth. So the trials, and there's probably between 20 or 30 active deployments today. So the trials take a long time. They take a lot of money, and trials basically consist of you wire one piece of equipment, then you undo the wiring connected, you connect in a competitive piece of equipment, you do your testing, you unwire that, you connect in your third piece of equipment, and of course all of these pieces of equipment all come from different NEM vendors, the typical sort of vendors we would expect, the Ericssons, the Alcatel-Lucents, the Nokia Siemens networks, so on and so forth. And a lot of these companies are very sensitive about vendor A seeing vendor B's equipment for obvious reasons, and it's very understandable. So what we've come up with at VSS is something we're calling the test or trial acceleration system, and it's speeding up trials by up to 60%. So you can have multiple different, for example, P gateways, S gateways, or MMEs connected into one of our products, and then so that removes all of the need to do the wiring, disconnect the wiring, rewire, reconfigure, this sort of thing. And what we're able to do is to connect these individual 4G network elements directly to the core through a GUI. So all of your wiring issues are gone away. All of your configuration issues have gone away. And we're working with one of the world's largest 4G providers at the moment, mobile carriers at the moment, and they've said to us that they're seeing benefits of between 50 to 60% in terms of the trials, speeding up trials. And this is unique. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else has really put the thought or the energy into working out how to do this. But today at VSS we have a test and measurement solution for 4G trials to help the carriers that are out there.
Well, it's a little bit surprising considering the increased focus on efficiency and cost savings, and obviously both go hand in hand.
Right.
But to learn that nobody else
is
enabled that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Andy, thanks. It's been great chatting with you again.
Absolutely.
We've been here in the TMC newsroom in San Jose with Andy Huckridge from VSS Monitoring. Andy, thank you.
Thanks.